So, the first lesson of this course pertains to how to write a major scale, a natural minor scale, a harmonic minor scale, and a melodic minor scale. So there's 4 different types of scales we're going to do. Each one of these notes has all 4 of those scales built onto it. So if I play the note C, you can write a C major scale, a C natural minor scale, a C harmonic minor scale, and a C melodic minor scale. And if I play the note C sharp, you can write a C sharp major scale, a C natural minor, a C sharp natural minor scale, a C sharp harmonic minor scale, and etc., etc. So there's a whole lot of scales to play on the piano. But the first thing that you need to remember is that the first note of every one of these scales, no matter which note it starts on, is always called the tonic. Tonic is a really important word because it's the home base of a scale, and scales are what a lot of composers use to write their music. They'll choose one scale and they'll take the notes out of the scale and they'll make music out of it, but the tonic note is always the most important. Usually when you hear a piece of music, the first note you're hearing, often, not always, but usually the first sound you hear in a piece of music is the tonic of that scale that the composer's chosen to use, and quite often the last note in the piece of music is also the tonic, so it's a really important note. So I'm going to play a C major scale now. There's 7 notes plus 1 in this scale because we play the tonic twice once we get up to an octave. So here's a C major scale. We could start on the note C. That's scale degree 1, it's the tonic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is the tonic again, so you might be able to call it 1 again. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So every one of the scales we're going to learn today has 8/7 notes in it. Okay, so sometimes I watch music theory teaching videos on YouTube and stuff because I like to see what other teachers say. And there's one thing that really drives me bonkers. If you're going to Google how to write scales, you will come across a plethora of videos that say that the teacher will turn on his camera and they'll say that modes and scales are the same thing. Okay, now most of you don't know what modes are, but I just need to provide this disclaimer. Modes and scales are not the same thing. And the reason is, I just taught you what a tonic is. Modes do not contain a tonic. When you write music with a major scale, it's expected that the tonic is the most important note in the key, and it kind of represents home on a long journey. Modes do not have this. The reason modes don't have a tonic is because modes do not have a leading tone. So, in the scales we're going to learn today, the 2 most important notes are 1, the tonic, which you already know, and then there's this other thing called the leading tone. And the leading tone's job is to reinforce the tonic. Now, in all the scales we're learning today, a leading tone exists 1 semitone lower than the tonic note. So I'll go back and play the C major scale. The leading tone is scale degree 7. So 1 tonic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the leading tone. And it goes up to the tonic. It's the tension between this leading tone and the tonic that makes music sound like it resolves and makes the audience feel like they've come back home after a long journey. And again, the tonic and leading tone can be in any scale. So here's an A major scale. When we're playing an A major scale, the first note again is called the tonic, even though it's a different note. So this is the tonic. And here's the leading tone, G sharp to A, 1 semitone apart. And G sharp, the leading tone, confirms the A in this case. You can have a D major scale. In this case, D is the tonic. Tonic. And in this case, C sharp is the leading tone. And the tonic rises and goes up to D. Okay? There's 2 other important scale degrees you need to know for this early music theory lesson. It's the subdominant and the dominant. The subdominant is the 4th note of a scale called scale degree 4. I might refer to it like that. And the dominant is the 5th note of the scale, scale degree 5. So here, now I'll play an A flat major scale and I'll say all the names as we go. So it starts on A flat. A flat is the tonic. We have tonic. This is number 2, 3, 4. We now know is called the subdominant. Scale degree 5 is E flat. It's called the dominant. The 7th note of an A flat major scale is G, and we're calling it the leading tone. And the leading tone goes up to A flat, the tonic again. So there are 8 notes in that scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tonic, subdominant, dominant, leading tone, tonic. Okay, so those are all our important names you need to know for this course. Each one of those, each scale degree has its own name, but for what we're doing right now, you just need to know tonic, subdominant, dominant, and leading tone. Okay, so now you're wondering how you're thinking, stop talking and tell me how to write them so I can do my theory exam. Okay, fine, I'll do that. So here's the steps to writing a major scale. Not minors, we're starting with major scales. So the steps are, write down the key signature, write down the tonic note, write all the other notes in stepwise motion going up to the next tonic, and then if the question asks you to also write the descending version of the scale, then you come back down to the original tonic. Okay? That's with a key signature, and if the question says write a major scale without the key signature, then you just start on the tonic, go up an octave, down an octave, and then remember your key signature and add it into the music itself. Make sure you leave enough space in between your notes so you have room to write the accidentals. So that's easy. So if I was asked to write an E major scale, I would think E major has 4 sharps. I would write my key signature down, then I would write the tonic note of E, which is E, and then I would write up, stepwise motion, up an octave to the note E, and then all the way down if it said ascending and descending. Okay, that's major. The steps for writing a natural minor scale is a little bit more difficult because you don't know what the key signature is just by looking at the tonic. To find out the you have to find out, to figure out what the key signature of a natural minor scale is, you have to count up 3 semitones and figure out what that note is, and then steal that note's key signature. What do I mean by that? So if I'm asked to write an F minor scale, the tonic is obvious, an F minor natural scale, the tonic is obviously F. And in order to figure out F minor's key signature, I have to go up 3 semitones. F, 1, 2, 3 is an A flat. Okay? So I know that the key of A flat major has 4 flats. So to write an F minor scale, I'm going to steal A flat major's key signature of 4 flats and add those into the F minor scale, and I will get a natural minor scale that sounds like this. Natural minor scales are interesting because they don't have leading tones. A leading tone exists 1 semitone below the tonic, and as you see here, F to E flat is not a semitone, it's a whole step. It's not a half step, it's a whole step. So this is the only scale we're learning today that doesn't have a leading tone. That's fine. Now let's try F minor harmonic. And the difference between an F minor harmonic scale and an F minor natural scale is that it does have a leading tone. So to create a harmonic minor scale, what you have to do is you have to find scale degree 7 and raise it by 1 semitone. So the 7th note of F minor was that E flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now to make it harmonic, we replace this E flat with 1 semitone higher, the E natural. So when we play an F minor scale, instead of playing E flat, we hit E and go up and down. That's F minor harmonic. And lastly is the melodic scale. Let's make an F minor melodic scale. In a melodic scale, when the scale is ascending, you raise scale degree 6 and 7 by 1 semitone. And when the scale degree goes back down the piano, you lower them back to normal. Okay? This is different than harmonic. Don't get this confused. A harmonic scale, you raise the leading tone, you raise scale degree 7 on both sides. up and down. In a melodic minor scale, you go up and raise 6 and 7, and when you come back down, you lower them. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 have been raised, tonic. Now they're lowered. So on the way up, we played D and E. And on the way down, we played E flat and D flat. That's a lot to think about. Let's go do it on the board so we don't forget. Okay, let's finally get down to writing a major scale. In this case, we're going to write a D major scale, and on this stave up here, we are going to write a D major scale with the key signature, and down here, I'm going to show you how to write a D major scale without a key signature. And I think I have enough space to do ascending and descending. So we'll say the first question is write a D major scale with a key signature, ascending and descending. So the first thing we need to do is figure out the key signature of D major. And because you listened to me and you memorized your key signatures, we know that D major has 2 sharps, Father, Charles, F sharp, and C sharp. Okay, that's step 1. Now step 2 is to write the tonic note. Okay, I can write the tonic here, there's a D here, or I can write a D here. Now if I write a D here, when I ascend, I'm going to be up in outer space using ledger lines, and it's going to be very difficult for the examiner to read my music. It's better to start here so that we end up on the stave and go back down. If we start too high and we frustrate the examiner, they will become angry with us, and they will feel more compelled to give us bad marks. So we don't want to do that. So let's start by writing the tonic of a D major scale, which is D down here. Now step 2 is to write up in stepwise motion. So there's D, up a step, up, 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 to the next tonic, which is D. And now, because the question asked us to go descending, we will come back down. That was all stepwise motion, space line, etc. And this is the right answer. That is a D major scale with a key signature. Now sometimes the questions might ask you to label the scale degrees like the tonic and the subdominant and the dominant. So let's do that just for fun, because clearly I have nowhere to go and this is fun for me. So let's find the tonics. D is the tonic, we'll just write T for short. There's another tonic, and there's a tonic over here. Now let's find the subdominant. The subdominant is scale degree 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. G is the subdominant of a D major scale. There's a G over here, that's also the subdominant. Now we'll find the dominant, scale degree 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this case, A is the dominant of a D major scale. I wonder why I'm writing the letter A. My fault. A is the dominant of a D major scale. Write D for dominant. And the last one we learned is the leading tone, that's scale degree 7. Semitone underneath the tonic. There it is there, you can write LT for short. LT. So there's a D major scale with a key signature, and we labeled all the scale degrees. Now immediately below it, let's write a D major scale without a key signature. We'll do the exact same thing, we'll do ascending and descending. Now the important thing to remember when you're doing these is to leave enough space in between the notes to actually fit your accidentals in the scale itself. Okay, if you write your notes too close together, you won't have room to put sharps and flats, and again, it will be hard for the examiner to read. They will be upset, pull out their hair, and give you a gigantic 0 on your exam, and you don't want that. So, let's leave adequate space. So instead of a key signature, we're going to put these sharps right into the scale itself. So in this case, step 1 is to just write the tonic. So we'll put a D here, and I'm going to do my best to leave space in between the notes, even though I don't have a lot of room. So now we're going to go up in stepwise motion to the next tonic and back down. So D, up a step, up a step. There's the next tonic, now go all the way down. Stepwise motion. And there. Okay, so it's not a D major scale yet. We have to insert the accidentals. So remember, D major has a sharp, or 2 sharps, Father Charles, F sharp and C sharp. Now we have to literally write those accidentals into the scale. Let's do that now. Let's start with the F sharp. Let's find all the Fs and make them sharp. There's one F sharp. And there's an F sharp. There's an F over here. We'll make that sharp. And now let's find all the Cs and make them sharp. There's the C's up there. That's the leading tone. And there. Now, normally when you read music, in 1 bar of music, once you put an accidental, that would mean that this F is already a sharp. When you're writing scales on an exam in a whole step, or in whole notes, that's not always clear. So it's safer to put sharps on both sides, put all your accidentals on both sides of the scale. It's easier for your examiner to read. It helps them understand that you know what you're doing. So even though, technically speaking, if this is 1 bar of music, although that's a crazy bar, if that would be 1 bar of music, this F sharp would also apply on this side. Just put them on both sides, just to be safe. It makes it easier for everybody to read and it's more clear. So there we have it. That is a D major scale with a key signature, and this is a D major scale without a key signature, ascending and descending. And if the question just said ascending, you could just stop here, and that would have been fine, just to go up. So, now I'm going to show you how major scales are related to their natural minor scales. So, every major scale has a relative minor, and every minor scale has a relative major. And in order to find out what the relative minor is of a major scale, you go 3 semitones down, or if you're starting with the major scale, you go 3 semitones up from the tonic. So, let's first write out an F major scale, then let's find out what its relative minor is. So step 1 to writing an F major scale is to find out the key signature. I know because I memorized that it is B flat. Next step is to write the tonic. And then we're going to go all the way up to the tonic, the next tonic. F and F, that's a tonic, and that's a tonic. F is the tonic. F is another tonic. Okay, so that's our F major scale ascending. Now let's figure out what the relative minor of this scale is. In order to do that, we take a look at the tonic on the keyboard and go tonic, 1, 2, 3 semitones down. And whatever note we land on, that's going to be the tonic of the scale's relative minor. So let's do that now. Here's an F, 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 1, 2, 3. 3 semitones down from F is a D. So F and D minor share the same key signature, F major scale and D minor. So now let's write a D minor natural scale. So they have the same key signature, 1 flat. Step 1 is to write the tonic. Here's a D. Now we're going to go all the way up to the next tonic. There. And in this scale, D is the tonic, and D is the tonic. And this is a natural minor scale since it has the subtonic here. And not a leading tone. So there's an F major scale, and its relative minor is D minor. They both have 1 flat, And you know they have the same key signature because they are related by a difference of 3 semitones. Now let's look at the 3 types of minor scales and compare them on the board so we can easily see the difference between the 3. So remember, there's a natural minor scale, a harmonic minor scale, and a melodic minor scale. Let's start with a natural minor scale. Let's choose the key of G minor. Okay, so let's write a G minor natural scale, ascending and descending. First thing we need to do is figure out what the key signature is. How do we figure out the key signature? We have to find the relative major. We have to go 3 semitones up on the piano, G, 1, 2, 3, and whatever note we land on, we will steal that key's key signature, that note's key signature. So let's do that now. Here's a G, G, 1, 2, 3. We land on a B flat. Therefore, B flat major and G minor have the same key signature. So, because you memorized your key signatures, you know that B flat major has 2 flats, battle, ends. Let's do that now. Let's do this in the bass clef. So, battle ends, let's write in our key signature. Battle ends. Next step is to write the tonic note. The tonic note of a G minor natural scale is G. We'll write all the way up to a G, and then all the way back down. Upwards towards the next tonic, and then back down. To G. So G is the tonic. There's another tonic up there, and there's a tonic down here. Let's label the subdominant and the dominant. In the G minor natural scale, C is the subdominant, D is the dominant, C is the subdominant, and D is the dominant on this side is the same thing. Now, in every other scale we've learned in this lesson, the 7th note of the scale is the leading tone. Now, it's not the case in natural minor scales because in this case, this F is not a semitone below the tonic. So in this case, this thing is called the subtonic. So natural minor scales do not have leading tones, they have subtonics, which exists a whole step underneath the tonic note. It's the only scale in which this happens that we're going to learn today. So that is a G minor natural scale, ascending and descending. Key signature is 2 flats. Now let's take that scale and make it a harmonic minor scale. So the steps to making a harmonic minor scale are first to write the natural scale first. So we have to do this all over again. So I'll write a G minor natural scale, starting on G, which is the tonic, and up all the way to the tonic an octave above, and then back down. So right now, this thing that I just wrote is a G minor natural scale. In order to make it a harmonic minor scale, I need to raise the 7th by 1 semitone on both sides, ascending and descending. So in this case, the 7th note is F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is F. This note is F. It's not been changed in the key signature, it's just F natural. To raise an F natural, I need to add a sharp. And I'm going to do that on both sides. So this goes from F to F sharp, and this goes from F to F sharp. Now, unlike the natural minor, this actually is the leading tone. The last one we have to learn, which is usually the hardest, is a melodic minor scale. So, a melodic minor scale is difficult because the notes are different on each side of the scale. That's also why you will never be asked on an exam to write a melodic minor scale ascending only. It doesn't happen. In order to prove to the examiner that you know what you're doing, you have to write it going up and going down. So let's do that one more time. The first step is to start with the natural minor, so we'll write a G natural minor scale, just like we did up here, and then again there. Tonic is G, we write all the way up to a G, which is the tonic, and now we have to write all the way down, again for sure. Okay, so to write a natural minor, to write a melodic minor scale, you have to raise scale degree 6 and 7th on the way up and lower them back to normal on the way down. So again, right now as this stands, this is a G natural minor scale. It uses the key signature of B flat major. It's fine the way it is. Now to alter it and make it a melodic scale, we need to first locate scale degree 6 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is scale degree 6, and that's scale degree 7. And on the way back down, this is scale degree 7, and this is scale degree 6. So these are the notes we are going to change. On our way up, we need to raise these notes by 1 semitone. Right now, this is an E flat. In order to raise an E flat, we need to put a natural sign, not a sharp. That would be raising it twice. So we'll put an E natural here. There it is. Scale degree 7 right now as it stands is an F. To raise an F by 1 semitone, we put an F sharp just like we did in the harmonic minor scale. And there's an F sharp. So that's half our job. Now coming down, when descending, these notes have to go back to normal. Okay? So this is F sharp. This has to be the normal F again. So we will put a natural, so our examiner knows that this is no longer F sharp, and now this has to go back to normal. Originally this was an E flat, so let's put the flat back in so the examiner knows what we've done. That's a really crazy flat, but I did it. And that is the right answer. This is a G minor melodic scale. So up here, again, G minor natural scale. This is a G minor harmonic scale. This is a G minor melodic scale. This is a G minor natural scale because we used all the keys in the key signature. It's exactly the same note as a B flat major scale starting on the note G. This is a G minor harmonic scale because we added a leading tone on both sides. And this is a G minor melodic scale because we raised 6th and 7th on the way up and we lowered them on the way down. This melodic minor scale is usually the one we use in music. When you're listening to music in a minor key, usually when the melody is going up, you will hear the raised 6th and raised 7th going towards the tonic, and if the melody in the piece of music is going down, you will usually hear these lowered. They're pulling you down to this tonic, and when the melody is going up, these help pull our ears up to the high tonic of the scale. Those are the 3 minor scales. Okay, so here we are with the worksheet that you can download from the website. We're going to do a few questions and go through the steps. So the first question says, write an A major scale using a key signature. Okay, so we're going to do that now. Now I'm doing this video, I'm using a pen. For those of you who haven't done music theory homework before, please don't ever do this. I'm only using a pen because it shows up, it's easier to read on the camera. But if you're doing this at home, use a pencil. So write an A major scale using a key signature. So to write a major scale, step 1 is to write the key signature. Now because I've memorized my key signatures already, I know that A major has 3 sharps, and I know that those sharps are Father, Charles, goes. Father, Charles, goes. Okay, and that's the correct formation for the treble clef. Okay, step 2 is to write the tonic note. The tonic of A major is A. there's an A. And then the last step is to write all the way up to the next A, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and then an A at the top. Now if the question on the exam says ascending only, you can stop there. But if the question says ascending and descending, you have to come back down. So just to be safe, let's do descending as well. So we will write the scale ascending and descending. And that's the right answer. Okay, so question 2 says, write an E-flat major scale using accidentals. So this time we do not get to use a key signature. We are going to have to put the accidentals in ourselves. So we can start by figuring out what the key signature of E-flat major actually is. I know you've memorized this already, so you know that E-flat has 3 flats, and those are battle, ends, and. So E-flat has a B-flat, an E-flat, and an A-flat. Okay, so obviously the tonic is E-flat, so we'll start on E-flat. I'm going to start on this low E-flat down here to give myself lots of space to go up. Okay, now I'm not going to put in the accidentals right away, I'm just going to write all the way up to an E-flat and then all the way back down. So we have E-flat, up a step, 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 step, and here's the top, E-flat. And now, just to be safe, I'll go down. Notice that when I'm writing this scale, I'm leaving some space in between the whole notes, so I can fit the flats in between the notes after. Okay, so I have the E-flats already, and get rid of that. Now we have to make sure we add in the B-flats and the A-flats. So let's see. There's a B-flat there. Let's add that in. And we have to add it on both sides of the scale, ascending and descending, because we're not using bar lines. Make sure you add in accidentals on both sides, and then we have A-flat. There's the A-flat on both sides. And that is the correct answer. Oops, that flat's a little high, but I wrote in pen, so there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, so that's the 2 major scales. Now we can look at the 3 different minor scales. Okay, and question 3 is talking about an F natural minor scale. Write an F natural minor scale using a key signature. Okay, we have a key signature, and we need the key signature of F minor. So this requires a little bit more work. To figure out the key signature of F minor, we need to figure out the relative major of F minor and steal its key signature. So if you go 3 semitones up from the note F, F, 1, 2, 3, that would be F on the piano, then F sharp, G, A flat. F, 1, 2, 3. So F minor uses the same key signature as A flat major. And because you've memorized your key signature, you know that the key signature of A flat major has 4 flats, battle, ends, and down. A B flat, E flat, A flat, and a D flat. Okay, so battle, ends, and down. Let's write the key signature. Battle, ends, and down. There it is. Step 2 is to write the tonic. F is the tonic of an F minor scale. We're going to write all the way up to F and then all the way back down. F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F. There's the tonic again. Now we are going down. Okay, there it is. Now, this is an F natural minor scale, so we do not have to do anything. It's fine just the way it is, and this is the right answer. Okay, the last 2 questions have a little bit more work involved. Write a G minor harmonic scale using accidentals. Using accidentals, we don't get to use a key signature. So first of all, let's figure out what the key signature of G minor is. Okay, so to find out the key signature of G minor, we have to go up 3 semitones to figure out what the relative major is, and then steal its key signature. So if we imagine a piano and we're playing the note G, G, 1, 2, 3, it would be G, G sharp, A, B flat. So G, 1, 2, 3 up on the piano, we land on a B flat. So the key signature of G minor is the same as B flat major's, and because you've memorized your key signature, you know that B flat major's key signature has 2 flats, battle, and B flat major has a B flat and an E flat. Therefore, G minor also, if it had a key signature, would have B flat and E flat in its key signature, but we're using accidentals, so we're going to put them right in the question. So, step 1 is to find the key signature. We did that. Now step 2 is to write the tonic note. There we go. G is the tonic note of G. Now I'm going to write ascending and descending, and I'm going to leave space in between the whole note so we have room to fit the accidentals once we get there. Okay, I wrote from G all the way up to G, and now I'll come back down. Okay, now harmonic means that we have to raise the 7th degree. In a natural minor scale up here, we didn't have to do anything, but harmonic, we have to raise scale degree 7 on both sides of the scale. Actually, you know what, we should put these in first. Before we raise the 7th, let's put B flat in, so we'll find all the B flats, put in the accidentals, there's B flat there and a B flat there, and then we'll put the E flats in, E flat, and E flat. Okay, sorry, now we can raise the 7th note. So we count up to the leading tone. Let's find the leading tone. Leading tone is scale degree 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7. That's right now that is an F, so we have to raise it by 1 semitone. So if we had a sharp, now it's raised, and because we're not using bar lines, let's put the sharps on both sides of the scale so the examiner knows what we mean. And this is the correct answer. That is a G minor harmonic scale. And the last one, question number 5. Write a D minor melodic scale, this one's the most work, with a key signature ascending and descending. Alright, by now you should know the steps. Step 1 is to find out D minor's key signature. It's a minor scale, so we're going to be stealing a key signature from a major scale. And to find out which major scale we are stealing the key signature from, we have to count up 3 semitones on the piano. So D, 1, 2, 3. So if we picture a piano, we have D, 1, 2, 3, that would be D, D sharp, E, F. D, 1, 2, 3, we land on the note F. So because you've memorized your key signatures, you know that F major has 1 flat and it is B flat, battle. Therefore, D minor also has 1 flat. So we can start by adding our key signature here. Okay, step 2 is to write the tonic note. D is the tonic note of D. There's a D. Okay, now I'm going to write up and down. Up, up a step, up, 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 all the way up to a D. And then we definitely need to write the descending scale for a melodic minor, because we have different notes going up and different notes coming down. So if you're doing an exam and you have to write a melodic minor scale and the question doesn't say ascending and descending, you just assume it's ascending and descending anyways, because you can't show that it's a melodic minor scale unless you come up and then go all the way back down. Okay, so the rules for melodic minor, which I told you a few minutes ago, we have to raise scale degree 6th and 7th on the way up, and we have to put them back to normal, lower them back to normal on the way down. Okay, so let's start by identifying scale degree 6 and 7. So this is the tonic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these two notes here have to be raised one semitone. We have to put a symbol here and here in order to raise these. This note right now, if you look at the key signature, is a B flat. So in order to raise a B flat, you need a natural. That's one step higher than the B flat, and this is the note C right now. To raise that, we need a C sharp. Now this is right going up, and now we need to put them back to normal, coming down. So this is C sharp right now, we'll put a natural there so the examiner knows we put it back to normal, and now this has to go back to B flat. So that was scale degree 6 and 7. This is scale degree 6 and 7. We went up, we raised them. We went down, we put them back to normal. And that is a D minor melodic scale. For the last part of the video, I'm going to show you some common errors that I often see my students make. Some of them may seem very comical and funny to you, but I kid you not, everything I'm about to show you I've actually seen done multiple times in a classroom, so I thought it was worthwhile to end off with showing you. So, I've printed out a blank homework sheet. Write an A major scale using a key signature. I've seen answers that look something like this. These notes are too close together. This is a caterpillar, it is not a scale. That's not correct. You need to make sure your notes are spaced out properly. That's something I've seen. Something else I've seen looks something like this. Let's say we start the question again. Now here, even though this question had a treble clef in it, I've seen many students write their scales in the wrong clef and not pay attention to what they are. So they've written the key signature in the bass clef. This is the bass clef version of an A major key signature, and thinking that they are in the bass clef, they've written an F sharp accidentally, thinking that this was a bass clef and that this was actually an A. If I had a penny for every time I've seen a kid do this, I would have 70 billion pennies. This is also wrong. So these notes are too close together, and don't mistake your clefs. Question 2. Write an E flat major scale using accidentals. So no key signature. I have seen students do strange things such as this. Now, if you think that's right but something looks off, you're right. The accidentals are on the wrong sides of the notes, okay? Accidentals always go to the left of the note. This can't even be read by a performer. If a musician is actually reading this, if they get to this E, they've learned that it's an E flat too late, because obviously we're reading from left to right. So, you're probably thinking, I would never do this, but I've seen students do it time and time again. Plus, often students are starting a music theory with this course, and they've never actually written music before, level 5. So just remember, accidentals always go on the left, so that would be, of course, marked wrong. And last thing I see all the time is something like this. Write an F minor natural scale using key signature. Key signature of F minor is 4 flats, no ends, and I see this all the time. So from a distance, this looks like a scale. Let's count the notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the subtonic. And now the scale is going back down. The student didn't actually make it up to all the way up to the F, to the tonic up there. They went 7 notes up and then started going back down. I see this one all the time too. Make sure count if you have to. We start with the tonic, then you go all the way up to the next tonic. Don't stop halfway and come back down. So that is also marked wrong. So when you're actually doing your homework, make sure that several things to think about. When you're doing your homework, make sure that before you start the question, you're always checking to see what clef you're in, and you're making sure that the key signature is in that clef, that you didn't accidentally write a bass clef key signature and a treble clef or vice versa. When you're doing the questions, make sure you practice spacing out your notes evenly. Don't get trapped writing them too tight. Most exams give you a wide, almost give you a whole page length to write your scales. So that just takes practice, not drawing those too tight. And then make sure you don't make any silly mistakes that will lose you marks, like not going up all the way to the tonic. And that is the end of this lesson. I hope you learned how to write scales, and I hope you will watch the next lesson, which is on rhythm, and is probably the hardest lesson of the course. So, you can print off the classical context worksheet from our website, and you can see how you did, and you can watch the next video. Thanks.